Hey everybody, today we're going to do a tier ranking, and this time we've got the most entertaining Democrats for 2028. And this is highly subjective, so your list is likely to look a lot different. And there's a lot of different lists on Tier Ranker. I didn't make this one, but there's a lot of different candidates, so we're going to try this one. There's different things that go into entertaining. It's going to be their personality, their energy, their charisma, their speech pattern, and just kind of an overall gut reaction. It's not really at all about their politics. It's who I think would really add to the fun factor and provide some antics for the election. This is not easy to do. I did try to actually spend some time on this. Now we're going to try to not take forever on this, but we've got tiers A, B, C, D, and F. A is going to be the most entertaining and F is going to be the least entertaining. So let's dive right in. First off, we've got Michael Bennet, senator from Colorado. Bennet for me, I think, is fairly low. He does have a little bit of energy. That's going to be enough to save him from the bottom. We're going to put him in D. And look who's next. We've got Kamala Harris. No introduction needed. Now, Harris, I do think, is fairly entertaining. Now, a lot of that is actually going to be in a bad way, but she still meets the criteria. She just has a level of goofiness that a lot of other candidates don't. Now, you can maybe chalk that up to her perceived lack of authenticity while she tries to connect with voters. She's also known for that laugh that few other candidates are. So Harris is going to go pretty high up. We're going to put her in the B tier. Next up, we've got Maura Healey, governor of Massachusetts. Now, I should also mention that some of these candidates do have the potential to change in the future, and some of them are going to be more well-known than others. So I can't say that I've seen tons of Maura Healey, but for the most part, I think she's fairly bland, but not the absolute worst. We're going to throw her next to Bennet in D. How about Katie Hobbs, governor of Arizona? Hobbs, I actually think, is very low as far as entertainment goes. When she ran for governor against Carrie Lake, if the election were just about energy and charisma, she would have lost that by 50 points. So maybe Hobbs does it for you, but she actually does very little for me. I'm going to put her on the bottom in F. What about New York Governor Kathy Hochul? Similarly, I think Hochul is also bland, but there's an occasional awkwardness to Hochul that I think bumps her up into the D tier. How about Mark Kelly, senator from Arizona? This guy just does not do anything for me. I'm sure he's got an exciting life being an astronaut, but that excitement just does not translate into his personality or his entertainment level. However, I have seen him have a moment or two where he looks a little bit goofy, so we'll say that's good enough for the D. How about Ro Khanna, congressman from California? Now, Khanna is considered progressive, but as far as entertainment goes, this guy is super boring. It's like I've seen him get passionate, but he tries to maintain that pleasant demeanor the entire time. It just doesn't work for me. I think he tries a little bit too hard, but I don't think he's the worst. We're going to also throw him next to Mark Kelly. How about Andy Kim, senator from New Jersey? Kim actually has a little bit more entertainment than I initially thought. There's not a lot of it, but there's enough to put him also in D. That D tier is looking crowded. How about Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota? Now, Klobuchar is someone I think is pretty much devoid of charisma. In the past, behind the scenes, we've heard an exciting story involving a comb, but as far as her level of entertainment in a presidential run, I also think there's kind of an awkwardness there that also puts her in the D tier. Next up, Chris Murphy, senator from Connecticut. I know the D tier is getting crowded, but I think Murphy is also going to go in that tier. How about another Murphy? We've got Phil Murphy, governor of New Jersey. Phil Murphy, I think, is going to be a little bit more entertaining. It's not anything dramatic, but I think that's enough to put somebody in the C tier. How about Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky? You know, if this was a tier ranking about being nice, Beshear would be right at the top. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of Beshear, but for what I have seen, there's really nothing there. At least for me, I think there's enough here to put him on the bottom in F. How about Gavin Newsom? Newsom definitely is a little bit more entertaining. He's also considered slick or smooth, however you want to put it. Some people think he has kind of a movie star appeal, and I do think there's some entertainment there. I think at least in the C tier, maybe we could actually bump him up into the B tier as well. How about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Now, she would undeniably be entertaining if she ran, and I know some people love her and some people hate her. She's got a heavy online presence, and I think the entertainment factor would be there. We're going to put her also in the B tier. How about Senator Jon Ossoff from Georgia? For me, Ossoff is moderately low. We're going to put him in D. How about Dean Phillips? The most entertaining thing about Phillips was him challenging Biden for that nomination. But as far as entertainment goes, Phillips is actually similar to Biden minus the old age. The problem for Phillips is that old age is pretty much all of it. So without that, I think Phillips is going on the bottom in F. How about Jared Polis, governor of Colorado? Polis is a little quirky. I think there's some entertainment there. He might be a little fun to watch. We're going to put him in the C tier. How about J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois? Now, apparently fat people and especially fat politicians are funny. I've heard it endlessly about Chris Christie. I've even heard it a little bit about Trump. So Pritzker is kind of the Democrat version of Christie. Definitely a lot less charisma, but I think the potential for comedy is there, enough for the C tier. How about Gina Raimondo, former governor of Rhode Island? For me, she's a total dud. We'll make it short and sweet. We'll put her in F. Next up, Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. Shapiro seems like a nice guy, but if you're looking for entertainment, I would look elsewhere. Shapiro is going to go on the bottom in F. Next up, Elissa Slotkin, senator from Michigan. Slotkin is somebody that has potential to move up in the future, but for right now, when I hear her or when I see her, I don't hear or see anything entertaining, so she's going to go on the bottom next to Shapiro. Next up, we've got Stephen A. Smith. His name has been thrown around lately as maybe making a run for president. He's made a range of different political statements, but he's much more closely associated with sports commentary. However, the entertainment factor is pretty high here. He's got his passionate outbursts, his amusing facial expressions. He seems to speak a little bit more candidly, so that's actually going to put him on the top. If somebody's going to go in A, it's going to be Stephen A. Smith. Next up, we've got Cory Booker. Booker's level of entertainment, I think, is in the middle. It's not nothing, but it's not a ton. We're going to put him in the middle. Next, Josh Stein, governor of North Carolina. For me, so far, Stein is not entertaining. Maybe I gotta watch more of him, but he's gonna go in the bottom in F. Look who's next. We've got Tim Walz. I think Walz is kind of entertaining, but I also think he's overrated, but there's enough there for the middle of the pack. Next, Raphael Warnock, senator from Georgia. Here's another nice guy, but his excitement level is a total wasteland. It's debatable DF, but I think I actually gotta put him on the bottom in F. The next person is Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan. For me, I think there's somewhat of an element of quirkiness or goofiness, kind of halfway in the direction of Sarah Palin. So there is some entertainment there. It's not super high, but we're going to throw her next to Walz and C. Next up, Pete Buttigieg. For me, if I was having a party, Buttigieg would be a total killjoy. No entertainment there. I'm actually going to put him on the bottom in F. Next up, I think that is Julian Castro. Castro I also think is pretty low. I'm going to throw him in the bottom in F. How about Roy Cooper, former governor of North Carolina? Cooper I think is pretty low as well, but just enough to get into the D tier. How about Rahm Emanuel? Remember this guy? Former mayor of Chicago, chief of staff to Obama, etc. There is some entertainment here with Rahm, enough so to put him in the C tier. How about Ruben Gallego, the new senator from Arizona? So far, I think Gallego is pretty low, but I think it's just a little bit higher than some of these people in F. We're going to put him in the D tier. And finally, it looks like we've got Michelle Lujan Grisham, governor of New Mexico. It's tough. I think she's weak, but maybe a little less so again than the bottom tier. We'll throw her next to Gallego in D. And that's it. Those are the tiers. Now, there's a bunch of other people that were not included in this list. One of them might be Jon Stewart, whose name also gets thrown around as a potential candidate. If he was on here, he'd have to go pretty high up, at least in B. Now, as always, a lot of these other ones are going to be borderline. You can move them up or down depending on what kind of mood you're in. But this isn't supposed to be super serious. That's the whole point. It's all about entertainment. And again, if I was having a party, I would definitely avoid inviting anybody in the F or D tiers. And some of them do have more or less charisma or energy. A lot of it comes down to just that X factor, that kind of a gut reaction. I feel bad for some of these people in the bottom. Hobbs, Beshear, Shapiro, Slotkin, Warnock. But what can I say? My impression of them for what I'm looking for is not at all entertaining. But you might have a totally different impression of them. That's going to be what the comments are for. So let me know, which of these do you find to be the most and least entertaining? I'm sure you're going to agree and also disagree with at least a few of these. But let me know what your reasons are down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.